Stove, so there's 2 crews worth. You can carry probably 3 or 4 fuel bottles like this, full of fuel. Everybody's going to have 10 stakes. These are water bladders, which you're going to carry for group water. You probably won't carry them too often full of water, but basically they have the inner bladders in here, and then they're used for water. You're going to have some rope. There's a bunch of things that, or the 2 things that aren't here that the troop is supplying yet is the first aid kit. Besides that, you're going to have some crew gear. Who has a booklet? Okay. If you look in this booklet, there's a section on equipment provided by the crew and then equipment provided by Philmont. And on that list is a nylon dining fly, tent poles, the long collapsible ones. We have some in our trailer, but each one of you will get, there's 2 people to a tent, so you're going to split a tent between 2 of you. You're going to have a cook kit. It's about 6 pounds worth of cook kit, which includes the large pots, the medium pots, a fry pan cover, a couple spoons. They call it a chef's kit, but there's not really much to the chef kit. Hot pot tongs, trash bags, dishwashing soap, scrub pads, water purification, some bear bag ropes, bear bags, plastic strainer that you're going to use the plastic strainer, and usually it's a Frisbee, and you strain the dishwater out, so any chunks in the dishwater get strained out and they don't go down into the sump because that ends up causing problems with the animals. Toilet papers and other miscellaneous things. It's on page 19 or 18 of the book. The thing to remember is that's all going to get divided up by your crew. So as you're packing your backpack and you're thinking about how, oh, I got all this extra room, I'm going to take an extra this and an extra that, remember that you're going to have also all this gear plus all the gear that they hand out at Philmont to go with it. So keep that in mind. I'm going to say the majority of your pack weight will be crew gear. And it sounds like it shouldn't be that way, but it is. Okay. And I forgot to bring those food bags out, Mark.
I can go get them.
Okay. Besides that, you're going to have to carry all your food. All your food will include everything you need for probably 4 or 5 days worth of food. I don't know if you've ever really thought about how much you eat in 4 or 5 days, but it's a lot. Okay. The packets that Mr. Alowski is going to bring back out here that I forgot to bring out, these are 2-man pouches, so it's, if you have 4 days worth of food, how many pouches are you going to have?
Do we have 12 or 10? How many do you have in the crew?
Doesn't matter how many you have in your crew, how many you personally have.
Oh. 4, so carry like 2.
Okay. There's 3 meals a day times 4 days is 12, right?
Yeah. So
and if it's a meal for that's 12 meal packs. There's 2 of you, so you can, that'll feed 2 people. So that ends up being how much?
About 24-ish.
No, 6, going the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
Each 2.
But if you want to take 24, go right ahead.
Thank goodness we're not going to math camp.
Maybe you should be. You're going to carry 6 food pouches. These that Mr. Alowski is going to bring out are probably the smallest ones I've seen, because some of them include like Ritz boxes, crackers in a box with squeezed cheese and other things that go with it. So some of them become very large and very bulky. Like I said, this is just one part of it, and this is spaghetti and meat sauce or lasagna and meat sauce, but then you're going to have puddings, you're going to have maybe some vegetable go with it. So when you're all said and done, it's not uncommon for the food pack for one meal to be this big. Okay, now you're carrying 6 of these in your pack. I'll say it's probably closer to this side, and this doesn't matter much. Okay. You're going to have 6 of these in your backpack, along with all this gear, along with your personal gear, plus other things. Food is a big thing to carry, and I mean big because it physically takes up a lot of room. And the other thing is you really can't smash it into everywhere, because unless you like spaghetti sauce with noodle powder, it doesn't work well. Okay, so you can condense it all you want, but you can't really smash it. You don't want your cracker smashed because it's hard to spread cheese. You don't want to sprinkle your cracker on your cheese, I guess is a better way to put it. So, in the grand scheme of things, all what you have to carry is pretty important. And this is all going to add up to the overall picture. So as you're thinking about, oh, my pack's not going to weigh 40 pounds, don't be surprised, because you may have 25 or 30 pounds of personal or of crew gear. And that does not also include water. All of you will be carrying probably 3 quarts of water, 2 or 3, maybe 4 quarts, depending what your day looks like. How much does a gallon of water weigh?
8 pounds.
How many quarts are in a gallon?
4.
So if you're carrying 4 quarts, how many pounds of water are you carrying?
8 pounds.
Ding ding. Okay. See how these things are all starting to add up pretty quick?
Yeah.
Okay, this is one stove. How much? What do you think that feels like?
1.5 pounds, maybe 2.
How about this?
Half a pound.
Okay, probably closer to a pound or more. But if you're gonna have a couple of these and a couple of those, this stuff starts adding up. This is the only one that's full. But if you've got 3 of these, that adds up. So as you're thinking about all that, it's important to think about how much it's going to weigh.
So 1 stove to a crew?
3 stoves to a crew. Okay, you're probably only going to use 2 stoves, but we always send 3 because 1 broken stove is useless. It makes you very hungry. Okay, and it really slows down the whole concept of cooking and getting done. So we always send 3 because it's not uncommon for a stove to develop an attitude sometimes. So you want to make sure you're backed up and covered for that.
Ooh, smells like white gas already.
Okay. These are the stoves. They're called Peak 1 stoves or similar. This one's actually called Exponent, but it's just because it's dual fuel, but we only use white gas in them. Stoves pretty much are like this. They sit on the ground like that, and the pot goes on it like this. Seems pretty basic, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody see any issues?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Balance.
Okay. Couple important things here.
Flat.
You need to place this stove on a flat, smooth ground when you put it down, because if you put it on an angle and there are rocks, you wouldn't want your water to fall off. When the water is cold, it's not as big a deal as if it's hot. And the reason being is, cold water usually doesn't burn you. Okay? So you want to make sure that you always set the stove up with the pot of water centered over it. It's not uncommon to ask somebody to look in both directions and say, are we centered both ways? Yeah, it's good. We're set to go. The other thing is you don't want to be screwing around. Typically there's a fire ring around the area. You're going to have this inside the fire ring. You don't need anybody running around playing football, kicking dirt up, whatever, and getting into and knocking the water over. Philmont does have a fair share of water burn damage to youth because people screw around. Once again, that whole horseplay leads to first aid. All right, so it's important. This is 6 quarts of water or 8 quarts, depending on what size pot you use. How many pounds is this?
16 pounds. 8 quarts of water plus the... I do not know the weight of the actual pot.
Okay. What I'm saying is 16 pounds balancing on this little stove is a lot of weight. Okay?
It's like balancing a base.
All right. How to start the stoves. All the stoves have directions on the side. There's a couple different varieties here. Label-wise, most of them should still have labels on. This is a newer one. This is another one. This one just isn't dual fuel. That's why it's different color. And basically, they're all the same. Take one stove here and take it apart because we're all going to get a chance to light one.
Woohoo!
Okay. What makes this work? This is flammable. Okay. So what's the first rule about flammable things?
Don't light anything first.
Be careful.
Stuff around.
Okay. The other enemy to a camp stove, besides dumping the bucket of water over the top of it, which really isn't an enemy because the stove doesn't really care, is dirt in the fuel tank. Anybody know how a propane stove works? Not propane. White gas stove works?
Pressure.
Pressure. What else?
Gas.
Okay, we're taking the liquid, turning it into a gas, burning the gas, it comes out, makes heat. Pretty simple concept, right?